Hello students, here we are in week 1 and you're getting ready to start your homework. So let's go over here to the homework folder and take a look at the items that are sitting here waiting for us. The first thing we have is the homework introduction course and introduction to history and the novel. These are all assignments that you either completed because you did them last week, introduction to the course, or because you've started them after our class on Tuesday. This is to summarize the syllabus. Remember, I want you to take a look at the syllabus document and then open this file. It's going to look like that. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I like it bigger. And then you want to go ahead and summarize the syllabus. Don't change this font, just leave it the way it is. And include the things that you think are most important. And that's going to be your syllabus summary. So let's go back again here to homework. I'm using the breadcrumbs up here to navigate left and right. You can also see that I have entered the course as a student so that I see the same thing that you see. There are two more folders down here. One is homework for the civil disobedience, the history module. The second one is the homework for the extensive reading project. Let's look at that first because it's really short. The only thing you need to do right now is choose your text. Figure out what it is you want to watch. Remember, books are your friends. So I have a short video telling you 30 things that you can love about reading books. Hey, you're going to be watching a video in a video. This is... No, you're not going to. I'm going to stop it. So make sure that you've started the extensive reading project. Look at the list of books. Find one of them that appeals to you, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. Take a look at the associated questions. And then try to find a copy of the book. You do not need to buy a copy of the book. There are plenty of copies of that book in the CCBC library or in the public library that's close to you, whether it's in Baltimore County or the Enoch Pratt Public Library in Baltimore City. Get a free copy. If you really, really want to have a copy of the book in the library, I won't stop you. But remember that you can buy used books much cheaper than new books, and there are used bookstores in the area where you might be able to find a copy of that book. Let's go back here to homework for the history module. There are some things you want to get done before next week. Okay? First, you want to summarize the syllabus. Yeah. This folder and right here on the history, civil rights, and civil disobedience contains all of the material that you need for next week's discussion. Quickly, I want to take a look at these 3 items. The Respondus lockdown browser test is something to do at home on your computer. If you want to find out how to install the lockdown browser application on your computer, then you're going to click on this document. It will walk you through that process. Remember that Respondus Lockdown Browser is a program that will run on your computer that you will use instead of your normal browser, like Firefox or Edge or one of the other browsers. You'll use that browser to open assessments, tests in Blackboard. And you want to practice doing that by taking the practice test. Okay? Now, down here, you have your groups. If you go into groups, I'm not in a group, so I don't know what's going to show up. If you click on this, you'll see that there's nothing for you to see. I'm sorry. But if you go over here as well, you should have 2 groups that show up. One will be your Threads presentation group, and one will be your discussion board group. In that discussion board group, you should see the first history discussion board, and you want to start posting in there. Remember, not only are you going to post an original idea, but then you're going to respond meaningfully, academically, to 2 of your fellow classmates, okay? So that's something to keep in mind. Let's go back in and take a look at some of the other items. Down here is a link to the introductions. If you haven't done your introduction, your course introduction, here's a link to that discussion board. And then here is a link to the extensive reading project discussion board. This is just to tell other people in the class what text you're going to be reading. And if they're reading the same one, then you guys can use this discussion board to talk to each other about the book as you read it. That way you don't have to try to interpret the cultural significance of the text all by yourself. It might be helpful to talk to other classmates about the text. Now let's jump to history, because we all know what history is, right? It's facts. It's what's already happened. What is history? This unit deals with the question of history. History is a complex subject. Some of the things to think about are who determines history? Who decides how to tell the story in history? Is it fact? Is it opinion? What makes something history? Is everything history? When does an event become history? Think about this. What I just said. Is that history? Is this history? Is this history? So when historians look at history, they are looking at a particular set of facts. Because if we think about all the facts in history, do all of them end up in the history books? Think about somebody famous who you've read about, right? Who's part of history. Do you know what they ate for breakfast? Why not? So on this page, we have a number of parts. Let's see here. Why do I have to study history? We have the 2 Christopher Columbus texts, and we're going to look at the role of civil disobedience. So go through this page, watch this video, click on all these links, and try to come to class with a better idea about history. Okay? When I go back to the homework, that should complete it. On Tuesday, we are going to launch into a classroom discussion about history, what it is and how it applies to the more interesting points of civil rights and civil disobedience. If you're not sure what civil rights are, you should probably do an investigation through the library. The library has some very good resources that will help explain what civil rights are. If you're not sure what makes some kinds of disobedience civil disobedience, again, go to the library and use one of the reference books there to investigate what civil disobedience is, what forms it takes, and then look at the texts that we have on this page and ask yourself, which ones represent civil disobedience? Once you've done that, if you're interested, look at some of the events in the world today and ask yourself, which ones are being done for purposes of civil rights and which ones are using civil disobedience to achieve those ends. That's it. That's your homework. It's not really a lot. I know it's too easy for people like you because you're so smart and so dedicated and so great. And I'm going to shut up now. I look forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday. I want you to keep in mind that some of the things that you do for homework, you don't submit. There's no way that I can tell whether or not you've actually read a page. I'm hoping that you don't, but I'm only going to use your discussion on Tuesday to gauge how much you've read and how much you understand. Remember that if you don't understand something you read, you're not alone. Sometimes the texts that we read, while they are authentic, are difficult. And so in class on Tuesday, it's your job to move the discussion to talk about things that are difficult for you to understand. Okay? Tuesday's coming. Have a great weekend, and I will see you bright and early Tuesday morning. Bye-bye for now.